I started thinking about the subject of leadership this past weekend because I was just on Facebook and was looking at some things that were happening at century groups and things like that. And people started talking about leadership. And I still think there's confusion on leadership as a course, Black Belt Club, Master's Club, your core curriculum. So I kind of wanted to just go over a little history about these things and kind of talk about how it's evolved into a Black Belt leadership program nowadays. Back in the 80s and 90s, when educational funding company was the main source of information, they really promoted the Black Belt Club and the Master's Club. The whole idea was to go from getting a student on a 12-month course to a longer commitment. So now they're thinking about setting the goals for Black Belt or higher, and they would be put on, this was back in, again, the 80s and the 90s, put on a 36-month program. And the benefit for Black Belt Club is you get to train with other people who are dedicated just like you. So in addition to your regular classes, you came to a Black Belt Club class. Most schools back then seemed to do them on the weekends on a Friday or Saturday. And this is where everyone that was in the Black Belt Club got to train with like-minded people. That was one of the benefits. The other benefits were just identification. People like to belong to something. So when you're in the Black Belt Club back then, you got your monthly class, you got a special uniform that stood out, you got a Black Belt Club patch. A lot of schools gave discount on pro shops and events. You got a special belt instead of a solid color belt. You had a belt with a black stripe going through it. So that was one of the real cool things. Next thing was usually slightly more expensive, but then some schools even gave a discount. The thinking back then was, hey, if someone's going to make a commitment for 3 years, I'm going to give them a price break because what I'm really looking for is the commitment. And commitment was a bigger thing back then because schools kept people accountable for the entire program. So if someone wanted to quit, they would talk, say, you can't quit. You made a financial program with the finance company. The classes are here for you. Some people even took them to court, sent them to collections. So they were really looking for the commitment, and they kept people accountable for that. Shortly after people started doing Black Belt Club, then the Master's Club was designed. And this was giving people a reason to enroll for another 36 months when their Black Belt Club program is coming to an end. So now that I'm in the Master's Club, again, I'm going to get a special patch. I'm going to get a Master's Club patch. And the difference in the curriculum was mostly weapons. When I joined the Master Club, now I'm going to rotate through some weapons. I would take an additional class on the weekends besides my regular classes and my Black Belt Club classes. I would say that was really, really popular way of marketing schools through the mid-90s. And then the change was Black Belt Club was no longer a club. Black Belt was a training course. So when you came in, you started on a short-term program. When you made a commitment, now you started learning the curriculum that got you to Black Belt. So it wasn't just a club meeting, but it was actually the curriculum that got you to Black Belt. So it was no longer the Black Belt Club, but it was titled the Black Belt Training Course. Again, this is all the requirements, forms, sparring, everything you needed for Black Belt. Again, people started with a basic, and then you either repeated the basic course or you went to this Black Belt training course. The next evolution was probably in the early 2000s, where it evolved to the Black Belt leadership. Black Belt leadership was more than getting a Black Belt. A lot of people set goals for Black Belt. The problem is when people got to Black Belt, they just assumed that they were done. So a lot of schools just started marketing this a lot with the leadership of Bill Clark and Fred Mertens back then, and they called it the Black Belt Leadership Program. The goal was bigger than Black Belt, was about creating leaders. No longer was Black Belt the goal, but the ultimate goal was to become a leader. We still had the curriculum that was going for Master's Club. We still had things like weapons, Later came the hyper colleague competition team. Schools, instead of making people enroll for another 36 months, decided to do this as an add-on. So I may have a child, and my child really loves competition. So in addition to his regular Black Belt leadership program, he wants to join the competition team. Well, that was made available. If I had a child, and all of a sudden this child was really athletic, and he really liked when he went to open forums and seeing this flipping and the tricking, well, his experience may be to do his Black Belt leadership program and add on some hyper. So hyper was a way to expand his goals and get more of what he wanted. Hyper's not for everyone, just like competition's not for everyone. So these were electives. You know, I have an interest now. My interest is changing the martial arts. I'd really like to do this. Well, we can do that. Creating these add-ons was financially better for a lot of schools, because when we just did clubs, it was kind of included into clubs. Now that they're choosing this experience and they choose to do hyper, they choose to do my competition demo team, well, they're taking an extra class per week, and that is valuable. So I mean, schools are charging anywhere from $50 to $60 a month for doing these add-on programs. So that was kind of the evolution from joining a club to having leadership to starting to do add-ons in your program. So as a student's point of view, Black Belt leadership provides a path to Black Belt and beyond. When you're talking about that, students also understand for them to accomplish that type of goal, there has to be a commitment. So the parents really understand the importance of signing up for an additional year, 2 years, 3 years, because if their child's going to get that out of it, it's really important for them to make a commitment. This isn't just wishy-washy, or I'm going to take class by class. No, I'm going to say it's going to take 3 years to get this. I'm signing up for 3 years because I'm totally committed to this goal. It also gave the instructors now the responsibility to lay out a path. So if I'm talking to a student, I say, over the next 36 months, this is what you're going to be learning. This is how you're going to learn it. So again, I was able to share my goal of getting the student to Black Belt or Black Belt leadership with the student, because it just wasn't going to happen, but I had a plan to make that happen. As far as the business goals, it's really important that we understand with our business, to have a good financial base, we have to have long-term commitment. Because if everyone is just on a month-to-month or day-by-day classes, it's hard for us to finance or plan our finances. It's hard for us to think about the future and staff because we don't have a solid financial base. But if I have my students on programs, it's okay. It's not assured because people can quit whenever they want, but with a commitment, they're more likely to stay with the program. They're less likely to give up. Having a Black Belt leadership program also gives me the opportunity to increase my tuition. So if someone's coming in on my 6-month basic program and their average payment is $150, well, they're getting more with the program because now the classes are longer. There's more of a commitment. So it's an opportunity for me to increase tuition on students. It's a huge opportunity when I sign someone up for a 24 or 36-month program to increase cash flow because I have paid in full options. Some people do not like payments, so when all of a sudden they have the opportunity to sign up for 24 months, they're going to just say, okay, I'm just going to pay for this today because I don't want to have to worry about payments. Especially if a school has incentives. So if you're doing an incentive that if you sign up for 2 years, you get your third year for free. If you give people a 20% discount for paying in full, it's really going to help your cash flow. So if you have 1 or 2 students per month paying $4,000 or $5,000, your student value goes way up above other schools that just do things on a month-to-month basis. In addition, once a student decides to go into my Black Belt leadership program, there's equipment that's involved because now they're going to be starting sparring. They're going to start weapons. So I'm going to increase my equipment sales. So there's a lot of financial opportunities involved with a Black Belt leadership program. It also gives me opportunities for class management. When new students come into my school, they're all in a basic class. And usually what we try to do is make sure there's a basic class every single day. So this is a class for new students to come in when they're white belts. They're all in this class. Makes it very, very easy for me to teach it because I have all beginners in the class. I don't have to worry about going too slow for some people, too fast for some people. I'm going at the pace for black belts, or for white belts, I'm sorry. Plus, since I have all white belts in the class, I no longer need separate trial classes. I don't have to do separate private classes for trials. I don't have to put them in a separate room. I can put them right with my other white belts because everyone's a beginner. A lot of parents like that over private one-on-one trial classes because they want to see how their children are going to adapt to a small group situation. It also helps me plan my other classes. Now, this is where some people get confused. I don't just have like a 6 to 9-year-old class and a 11 to 14 class. I have what are called black belt leadership classes. I have a black belt leadership classes that is geared for 6 to 9-year-olds. I have a black belt leadership class that is geared for 10 to 14 years old. I have a black belt leadership class that is geared for teen and adults. So when I'm planning my schedule and I start thinking about my class management, these are the classes I really, really need. I need a Little Dragons class. Those guys are 4 and 5 years old. They need to be by themselves. It only needs to be a 30-minute class. I need my 6 and 9-year-old groups. That's a perfect age group. I don't have real slow learners in it, and I don't have older kids that want to learn at a faster pace. Again, I have my basic class. I have my older kids, the ones that are 10 to 14. Kids that all of a sudden, now they're getting to that pre-adolescent stage or just getting to adolescent stage. They work out really good together. And then I have my teens and adults. Since most schools have probably more teens than adults, some schools have opted for adult-only classes. But in reality, if you have less than 200 students, these are the classes you really, really need. So Black Belt Leadership course is ideal for setting up a easy-to-run class schedule. So this is kind of the plan. Basic students or welcome students come to my school. They do a trial class. They've only had maybe 1 or 2 classes depending on your trial format. So their next step is to do the welcome program or your basic program, which is 6 months. During those 6 months, they're getting 2 classes a week. They're learning martial arts basics, intermediate self-defense techniques. It gives them an opportunity to participate in the class and decide during those 6 months if Black Belt leadership makes sense. So they're always hearing about the Black Belt Leadership Program. We're talking about setting longer-term goals. We're talking about the culture of a Black Belt. You know, how it's all about Black Belt excellence. It's not just belt, but it's developing that attitude. Once they realize that, now they can join anytime after they get to yellow belt, they can join the leadership program. So again, that's the Black Belt Leadership class. That is the title of my regular program. It's not a special club. Everyone, if they're not on basic program, belongs to my Black Belt Leadership program. Now, depending on where you live in the country and what you feel comfortable with, this leadership program could be 12 months, could be 24 months, 36 months. I know some states do not allow students to sign a contract for 36 months. Washington State for sure. You can sign up for someone for 36 months, but you can't hold it to them. So anytime they want to drop out, they can drop out. Same state, if you sign up someone on a 12-month program, they have to complete the 12 months of payments. That's a state law in Washington. So when you design your program, make sure you know the laws in your state. Now, basic students can upgrade to Black Belt Leadership anytime they want after their yellow belt. Or by special invitation. If you've been following the live classes, you know that I talk about invitational months. So like August was an invitational month. So it's a month where we're looking at our student base. We're deciding if we have people in the basic program that just maybe they're really talented. They have a friend in the school. They have a family member. And you would like to have them stop taking the basic class and go into Black Belt Leadership. So we can invite them. They're going to do a trial class. After that trial class, we're going to talk to them about converting into the Black Belt Leadership Program. So it could be by invitation. It could be, hey, you made your yellow belt today, so congratulations, everyone. Everyone got yellow belt is now qualified for Black Belt Leadership. If you want to continue with your 6-month basic program, your 6-month welcome program, you're allowed to do that. If you're ready to make that jump and upgrade to leadership, talk to me next time you come into class. Now, Black Belt Leadership still has its own look. I got this picture from Chris Bro's school in New Jersey. I just love this picture because he's got a picture of his basic class, his leadership class, and his Black Belt class. So everyone in his basic class, they come in as a basic student. They've all got that white uniform on, look really, really sharp. Once they decide, okay, I'm going to make the jump, I now want to go into Black Belt Leadership, then they have this look in all blue. And then when his students get black belts, they get black uniforms. So this is a real simple look, but each program should have its own look because we want people to feel that they belong. If they're part of a team, they should all look as part of a team. You can't be a football player with the Miami Dolphins and all of a sudden wear a red football uniform. Everyone has the same blue and white, and that's their colors. Same thing with your martial arts school. Every group, every program has its own look and feel. So the benefits of this type of program is, again, age-appropriate classes. Benefits are going from a basic class, which is 30 minutes. Now I got 45 minutes, so I have additional training. I'm learning all the requirements needed to get my black belt in the school. This is just something to think about because one of the things some schools try to sell is the benefits of now you have unlimited training or now you come to 3 times a week. That may be a benefit for a lifetime martial arts school owner, but it may not be a benefit for a mom who's got a busy schedule and they have to take classes or kids to all different types of things. Saying that now you can come 3 or 4 times a week isn't a benefit to some parents. So I really suggest when you do some type of leadership program, you keep it to 2 times a week. You increase the class by 15 minutes. Now, if you have a student and that student wants to take 3 classes a week, that's fine. You just price it out accordingly. Last schools that I deal with, they allow people to come to 3 times a week, and it's only $50 more per month. But now they're really paying, $13 to $15 extra for that extra class. Now, other benefits. So we say, okay, the benefit is I'm making a commitment. Now I'm learning the curriculum. So I got a 45-minute class to learn that curriculum. I also have a nice black belt leadership uniform. So this is the look and feel of the experience. Just like the picture I showed of Chris Bro's school. They've got, the nice uniform. They have a belt with a stripe through it. They have finally can wear gear. They've got a patch that says they're into this program. Maybe they have an embroidered uniform, an equipment bag, but they have all extra things that go along with the program. VIP awards, if someone joins my Black Belt Leadership Program, they're allowed to give out passes to friends that allow them to come in for 1 free month. So again, this is a benefit for your school because now you're getting referrals. It's also be a benefit joining leadership. If you join leadership, you get unlimited passes where you can bring friends in, and your friends get a whole free month of classes. Some schools do this, and I really like it because a lot of schools have difficulty to get adults into the program. So one of the benefits for many schools is that parents of leadership students get to train free. So now once we upgrade a student to leadership, mom can come to some cardio classes, dad can come to adult classes. That could just be an added benefit. And once you join leadership, now you're qualified for that add-on. So now you can come to maybe Hyper, your certified instructor program. It could be your demo team, your competition team, whatever you have on add-ons. Once you're in leadership, you can decide if you want to do add-ons. I wasn't really going to get into pricing, but there's two ways to do the pricing. One is that now that they're going for leadership and they're taking a longer-term program, the cost of the program increased approximately 20%. So if you're getting regular $150 for your welcome or your basic program, that $20 increase would increase the enrollment to $180 for leadership. Totally cool. Some people like to do this. Some people like to keep it the same. Again, pricing's pricing, and you really have to decide what's best for your school. I think definitely you have to give an incentive if you want to get paid in fulls. So there's two ways to finance your program. We've gone through this quite often, that you can either self-finance your program. If you self-finance a program, you can give either a free time away or maybe a 20% discount. If people decide that they don't want to self-finance, in other words, they want the school to finance it, then they're going to put a down payment and do monthly payments. But unless you have or you're offering blocks of time, you're not going to get people to pay in full. So in other words, if I just say, okay, my 6-month program is going to roll over, it's just going to automatically roll over into monthly payments, and that's going to be considered leadership. Well, no one's going to really come up to you and say, but I just want to give you 12 months in advance. But they will do 12 months in advance if you describe that the leadership program is this time. Now you have two choices of financing. One, you can save 20%, so it's going to save you $400 on your program. People will take out their credit card or they'll write you out a check because they like that type of savings. This is a huge difference maker in your programs. Again, if you have 100 students right now and you're grossing $15,000 per month, if you just do one cash out per month and your cash out is $1,400 or $4,000, you're going to increase your tuition from $15,000 to $19,000 by just getting one of your regular students decide to pay in full. So this is why some schools, when they do their student value, they go, hey, my student value is $110. And someone else goes, well, I have the same amount of students and my student value is $150. Oh, the one that's doing $150 is getting more people to prepay the programs. It's a huge difference. And again, when we see people share those numbers online, hey, this is my student value or this is my student value, the ones where the higher ones aren't really charging more per month, but they are allowing students to pay in full. This is one concern I get from clients. They go, I've got someone who's done with the 6 months and they really want to do leadership, but they're afraid of the commitment. Do I just have them walk? No, you don't have them walk. You find out what's going to work and get them to sign up for the 24 months. So this one, I'm sitting down with the parent, and the parent goes, Greg, you know, all this sounds really good. My son's 6 years old, and I'm just afraid of my husband losing his job, or we may be moving, all these things, and so I'm afraid of that 24-month commitment. I totally understand. What if we do this? If you move, of course, we're going to cancel the program, so that's a given. But if your child loses confidence, give us 30 days notice. We'll cancel the rest of the program. The only thing I like the opportunity to give him some private classes, see what I can do to remotivate him. But if I can't remotivate him those 30 days, we'll just cancel the remainder of the program. How does that work for you? Well, it's just like signing up from month to month. So it's not something we're going to just talk about, but we are going to talk about with people that have concerns. So we're not going to fire someone at 6 months because they have a commitment problem. We're going to find out what's going on in their life, what's going to make it work, and we're going to find a way around that to make sure we do get everyone to sign up. So how and when do we go? So I think the biggest thing, the easiest thing, what I talked about in all these things, if we want someone to transfer into black belt leadership after yellow belt, we just make sure after we do the yellow belt test, hey, I just want to congratulate all the yellow belts. You are now qualified to go into black belt leadership. If you have any questions, make sure you talk to the instructor. We have some leadership leadership uniforms in stock. If we don't have your size, then we can make sure we order one. So this way, when you start black belt leadership next week, you've got a uniform. Second easiest way is to just make sure we invite them. So a lot of kids may be a little apprehensive, parents may be a little iffy, but we got to show that we believe in them. So if you have people that you really think should be in that Black Belt Leadership program and they're not yet, make sure you invite them to try out one of the classes, and so they have a chance to experience it. And also make sure you have the cool look. When we had the school in Mesa, Arizona a couple years ago, the leadership uniforms were just so nice. We used like similar to an XMA uniform. So when students in the white uniforms saw the kids coming in for the Black Belt Leadership, and they just looked so cool, they said, when can I get a uniform like that? Oh, you have to be in leadership. And so this is the qualification to be leadership. So make sure you have that look, because just that look and having your leadership classes sandwiched around your basic class. So basic people are always saying leadership. If you have some volunteers on the floor, you have some leadership members that volunteer in your class, and they're in those sharp uniforms, people want to know why they have those uniforms. And you explain that the big program in the school is Black Belt Leadership. Once you get your yellow belt, you're going to be ready. So work really hard to get that yellow belt fast. So I know that was master review for some of you. Does anyone have any questions on what's referred to as leadership? I know it's an upgrade program, but it's also our core program in the school. Okay, tomorrow I'm going to be talking about curriculum. This is something, again, that I really believe United Professionals introduced to the industry in the late 90s, and that was rotating curriculum. Paul Garcia and I worked at it when we had the school in Coral Springs. It was really, really neat because prior to rotating curriculum, we'd have a beginning, intermediate, and advanced class. Each class we had 4 instructors. So we had an instructor teaching white belts, an instructor there teaching yellow belts, orange belts, and purple belts. We had an amazing team of instructors. Then it just became too complicated because as the school grew, it got a little chaotic. And we're also thinking about opening new locations. But to open new locations, we start thinking, we have to train a huge staff. So we decided to switch from a specific curriculum for each group until we had a rotating curriculum. So all the students in the school were learning the same material at the same time. It was really neat because you can tell the green belts from the white belts, not by the belts, but just the quality. They've been training longer. They may be doing the same curriculum, but they were better. And the skill level was really what I was after. So tomorrow I'm going to explain rotating curriculum, but not how we did it back in the 90s. We had a beginner, intermediate, and advanced class. How we do it now, so we have white belts or yellow belts through black belts in the same class, learning the same material. People are learning to teach. They're teaching to learn. Same concept that Apollo Ladra does in his Kali program. So at this time tomorrow, I'm going to explain that. So some videos. I have it all planned out for 3 years. As a rainmaker, that curriculum and that format is available to everyone. So tomorrow, 12 o'clock, that's what we're going to cover. Any questions?